the experience of living.
Sheep and goats. Appearance and character. Because God compares a sheep to a believer. What is so special about this animal that pleases God? He affirms that believers are the sheep of his pasture. You are my sheep, the sheep of my pasture, and I am your God, declares the sovereign Lord. Ezekiel 34:31. The similarity with the believer lies in the sheep's character. They don't know how to navigate. They need the guidance of a shepherd to reach the pasture. The sheep is food-oriented. They spend most of their time eating, but they can't find food on their own. They can't see more than 2 or 3 meters away, so they get lost easily. They can't reach the pasture on their own and will surely get lost. They have a strong tendency to follow the first individual who moves, capable of continuing without knowing where it is leading. Little by little, they learn to distinguish the shepherd's voice. Even if they can't see him, they know it's him. She doesn't know how to live alone. She lives in a group called a flock. If she sees herself alone, she panics and runs around looking for the group. Similarity with the believer. The believer has limited vision in the spiritual world and cannot find his way alone. He needs the guidance of the shepherd, the Eternal One, who leads him to the pastures. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Without the shepherd, the sheep and the believer lack everything. When he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep follow him, because they know his voice. John 10:4. Christ is the legitimate shepherd, represented on earth by a man, prepared and authorized by him to perform the required task. Insecurity. The sheepfold, inhabited by the flock like a kind of church, is the place where both the sheep and the believer are protected and safe from their natural enemy. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Luke 12:32. The sheep has no natural defenses, so it needs someone to defend it, because it has a fierce enemy who roams the sheepfold looking for someone to devour. It doesn't know how to defend itself because it doesn't frighten anyone. It doesn't have a threatening appearance. Other animals run fast, have horns, claws, and fangs. It is unsure of itself. It frightens and panics easily. Even the believer needs to be defended from his natural enemy, the devil, against whom he cannot fight alone. He must be under the protection of the heavenly shepherd. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. John 10:11. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. John 10:14-15. I myself will tend my sheep and have them lie down, declares the sovereign Lord. Ezekiel 34:15. Know that the Lord is God. It is He who made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people, and the sheep of His pasture. Psalm 103. Goats. Goats also live in the sheepfold, but they have a different nature. They do not submit to the shepherd. They have an independent spirit. They prefer to go to the mountains to eat anything. They are not as exclusive as sheep. They destroy the pasture. When they eat a weed, they uproot it, and it cannot reproduce. A plot of land with goats soon becomes barren. Nothing grows. It does not represent the believer, nor the will of God, and therefore represents the enemy of God. One day they will be separated from the sheep, and all the nations will be gathered before him. and he will separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. He will set the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world." Matthew 25:32-34. Then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels." Matthew 25:41. Your experience. Recognize that your character and condition are like a sheep. Then you are a legitimate believer. People don't have a good understanding of sheep. It doesn't matter what they think. What matters is how God thinks. Learn to know God's voice and depend completely on Him. It's a matter of life or death.